Money controls your life in ways you have never noticed. Society promises that wealth brings freedom, yet the wealthiest people often feel the most trapped. We chase financial success believing it will solve our problems, but Alan Watts discovered something disturbing about this pursuit. The system teaches us to work harder, earn more, and buy better things. Parents tell children to study for good jobs. Schools prepare students for corporate careers. Everyone follows the same blueprint, expecting different results. This path does not lead to freedom. It creates a prison, where the bars are made of expectations, debt, and endless wanting. The very thing we think will free us becomes our cage. Financial stress now dominates human existence more than ever before in history. People spend 40 years working jobs they hate to afford lives they barely live. Weekend recovery becomes the only escape from weekday suffering. Credit cards turn wants into needs instantly. Social media shows us lives we cannot afford. Advertisements whisper that happiness lives just one purchase away. The economy depends on our dissatisfaction remaining permanent. Alan Watts called this the money game, a rigged system where winning is impossible by design. Players think the goal is accumulation, but the real purpose is keeping people running on the treadmill forever. Banks profit from our debt. Employers profit from our desperation. Retailers profit from our emptiness. Everyone benefits except the person playing the game. The cost goes beyond money. Marriages fail under financial pressure. Children grow up with stressed parents. Health deteriorates from overwork. Dreams die. In cubicles where people spend their best years making other people rich. This creates a question worth millions. What if everything we know about money and success is wrong? Before we explore what Alan Watts discovered about escaping this trap, hit that subscribe button if you want more insights that challenge how you think about life and success. These ideas could change everything for you. Traditional education programs, humans for economic servitude without anyone realizing it. Schools teach obedience, punctuality, and following instructions. These skills create perfect employees, but terrible entrepreneurs. The education system was designed during the Industrial Revolution to produce factory workers. Modern schools still use the same model. Students sit in rows, follow schedules, and compete for grades. This prepares them for offices that function exactly like factories. Financial education gets ignored completely. Nobody learns about compound interest, investing, or building wealth. Schools teach calculus, but not budgeting. Students study history, but not how banks work. This ignorance is not accidental. Alan Watts observed that society needs financially ignorant workers. Educated consumers make poor customers. People who understand money stop playing the consumption game. The system requires players who believe working harder always leads to earning more. Career advancement follows a predictable pattern. Entry-level positions pay barely enough to survive. Mid-level jobs pay enough to accumulate some comfort. Senior positions pay enough to accumulate significant debt through lifestyle inflation. Each promotion brings new expenses. Bigger salaries require bigger houses, nicer cars, and more expensive habits. Income rises, but savings stay flat. The hamster wheel spins faster without changing the destination. Retirement planning reveals the trap clearly. Financial advisors recommend saving 10 to 15% of income. This assumes 40 years of consistent employment without major setbacks. Medical emergencies, job losses, or economic crashes can destroy decades of progress instantly. The math exposes the lie. Average salaries cannot create significant wealth through saving alone. Investment returns barely keep pace with inflation. Most people work until they die or depend on government assistance in old age. Corporate culture reinforces the prison walls. Office politics reward conformity over creativity. Performance reviews measure compliance rather than results. Promotion requires playing games that have nothing to do with actual value creation. Meanwhile, the wealthy play by completely different rules. They own assets instead of trading time for money. They receive income from investments, businesses, and intellectual property. Their money works while they sleep. Humans lived without currency for thousands of years through direct exchange and community cooperation. Bartering connected people to the real value of goods and services. You traded what you made for what you needed, without mysterious financial instruments complicating the process. Money originally served as a simple tool for storing and transferring value. Gold coins had intrinsic worth. Paper currency represented actual reserves. Banking meant keeping valuables safe, not creating debt from nothing. The Federal Reserve changed everything in 1913. Central banking allowed governments and banks to create money without backing. Currency became debt instead of stored value. This shift enabled massive manipulation of the money supply. Modern money exists primarily as digital entries in computer databases. Physical cash represents less than 10% of total money supply. Most wealth exists only as numbers that can disappear with computer glitches or systemic failures. Credit creation multiplied the money supply far beyond economic reality. Banks lend money they do not possess, creating artificial demand for goods and services. This inflation makes everything more expensive over time, while wages lag behind. Previous generations could buy houses with single incomes and save significant percentages of their earnings. College education cost a fraction of current prices. Healthcare remained affordable for working families. Economic stability was normal rather than exceptional. Geographic communities provided natural support systems that reduced financial stress. Extended families lived nearby. Neighbors helped during difficulties. Local businesses created genuine relationships between buyers and sellers. Globalization destroyed these connections. Manufacturing moved overseas. Local businesses closed. Communities became collections of strangers who commute to distant jobs. Social isolation increased financial pressure by eliminating informal support networks. Traditional skills that reduced dependency on the money system disappeared. People knew how to grow food, repair things, and create what they needed. Self-sufficiency provided security that money cannot match. Consumer culture replaced production culture after World War II. Advertising convinced people that buying things demonstrated success and happiness. Shopping became recreation. Debt became normal. Materialism became the new religion. Television. Programming trained viewers to desire lifestyles beyond their means. Shows featured wealthy characters in expensive settings. Advertisements interrupted every few minutes with promises of better living through purchasing. Credit cards eliminated the psychological pain of spending by removing physical money from transactions. Easy payment plans made expensive items seem affordable. Buy now, pay later became the economic motto. The psychological effects run deeper than financial stress. People lost connection to the value of their labor when money became abstract. Work feels meaningless when the connection between effort and reward becomes invisible. Alan Watts taught that money problems are actually consciousness problems disguised as financial issues. Changing your relationship with money requires changing how you think about value, time, and what makes life worth living. Real wealth starts with understanding the difference between having money and being free. Freedom means having choices. Money provides choices only when you control it instead of it controlling you. Most people become slaves to their paychecks without realizing. Minimizing expenses creates more freedom than maximizing income. A person who needs little cannot be controlled through economic pressure. Voluntary simplicity eliminates the anxiety that comes from constantly wanting more than you have. Value exists, independent of price tags. Clean air has no monetary cost, but provides life itself. Friendship costs nothing but creates immense wealth. In happiness and support. Health cannot be purchased, but determines quality of life more than any material possession. Time represents the only true currency, because everyone receives the same daily allocation regardless of wealth. Rich people cannot buy more hours. Poor people do not get less time. How you spend time determines the richness of your experience. Skills and knowledge create independence from the money system. Learning to grow food reduces grocery expenses, while improving health. Developing repair abilities saves money while building confidence. Creating things provides satisfaction that buying things never delivers. Multiple income streams reduce dependence on any single source of money. Side businesses, investments, and alternative income protect against job loss. Diversification applies to income just like investment portfolios. Geographic arbitrage allows people to live well on less money by choosing locations with lower costs. Remote work technology enables earning city salaries while living in affordable areas. This strategy can cut living expenses by 50% or more. Building community connections creates informal economies where people exchange services, share resources, and support each other outside the traditional money system. These relationships provide security that bank accounts cannot match. The goal is not avoiding money, but changing your relationship with it. Money becomes a tool rather than a master when you have enough to meet basic needs without depending on it for identity or happiness. Different cultures demonstrate alternative approaches to wealth and success. Some societies prioritize community well-being over individual accumulation. Others value leisure time more than income growth. These examples prove that our economic assumptions are choices, not laws of nature. Conclusion and call to reflection. 16:15-17. Breaking free from the rat race requires recognizing that the race itself is optional. Society convinced you that running faster is the only solution, but Alan Watts suggested stepping off the track entirely. Your time and attention are more valuable than your bank account balance. How you spend your days determines the quality of your life more than how much money you earn. A rich life means being present for your own experience rather than constantly working towards some future reward. The system will continue operating exactly as designed. Advertisements will promise happiness through consumption. Employers will demand more hours for the same pay. Banks will offer easy credit with hidden costs. Your power lies in choosing not to play games that cannot be won. Real wealth means having enough time, health, and freedom to enjoy being alive. Money serves this purpose when you control it wisely, but it destroys this purpose when it controls you. These ideas challenge everything most people believe about money and success. If this video made you think differently about your own financial situation, subscribe to explore more perspectives that question conventional wisdom. Share this with someone who feels trapped by their financial situation. Sometimes a different way of looking at old problems creates new solutions. Your life does not have to follow someone else's blueprint for success. The rat race continues only as long as people keep running. What happens when you choose to walk instead?